Book of Heaven, Volume 30, April 13, 1932. The human nature that lets itself be dominated by the divine will, field of its action, and flowery earth. How the divine will possesses the inseparability. I am always in the arms of the divine will, like a little girl clasped in the arms of her mama, who holds me so tightly in her arms of light as to let me see, feel, and touch nothing but divine will alone. And I thought to myself, oh, if I were free from the prison of my body, my flights would be more rapid in the fiat. I would have known more. I would have been, indeed, one single act with it. But it seems to me that my nature makes me do some interruptions, as if it were placing obstacles, and it makes it hard for me to run always in the divine will. But while I was thinking of this, my divine teacher, Jesus, visiting my little soul, told me,
"Blessed daughter, you must know that with one who lives in my divine will, my will has the virtue of keeping the nature of the creature in order. And instead of being an obstacle, it is a help for her to be able to do more acts of divine will. Even more, it serves like earth to the flowers, which offers itself to form the beautiful flowerings that almost hide it and cover it with the variety of their beauties, to which the sun communicates the variety of the most beautiful colors, and keeps glazing them with its light. If it wasn't for the earth, the flowers would lack the place in which to form their life, to be born and make their beautiful appearance, and the sun would find no place, no one to whom to communicate the display of its beautiful colors and of its pure sweetnesses. Such is the human nature for the soul who lives in my divine will. It is like fecund and pure earth, which offers itself as the field of action, and not only to let her form the beautiful flowerings, but to let as many suns pop out for as many acts as she goes on doing. My daughter, it is an enchantment of beauty to see the human nature that lives in my divine will, covered and hidden as though under a flowery meadow, all invested with most refulgent light. On her own, the soul could not have formed so many varieties of beauties, while, united to it, it finds the little crosses, the necessities of life, the varieties of the circumstances, now sorrowful, now joyful, which it uses as seeds in order to sow the earth of the human nature, so as to form its flowery field. The soul has no earth and would not be able to produce any flowering, while united to the body, oh, how many more beautiful things it can do. More so, since this human nature was formed by me, I molded it part by part, giving it the most beautiful shape. I can say that I acted as divine artisan, and I placed in it such mastery that no one else can match me. So I loved it. I still see the touch of my creative hands impressed on the human nature. Therefore it also is mine, it belongs to me. Everything is in the complete accord, nature, soul, human will, and divine will. When this is there, the human nature offering itself as earth, the human will in act of receiving the life of the divine will into its acts, letting itself be dominated in everything, and knowing nothing else, in all its things, but my will alone as life, actor, bearer, preserver of everything. Oh, then everything is holy, everything is pure and beautiful. My fiat remains over her with its brush of light in order to perfect her, divinize her, spiritualize her. Therefore your nature cannot be an obstacle to the flights in my will. Rather, an obstacle can be your will, as you must always keep an eye on not giving it life. But from your earth there is nothing to fear. As for it, if it gets something, it receives and gives what it has received. Or rather, it gives more, and it changes the seed into flowers, into plants, into fruits. And if it gets nothing, it stays there in its mute silence, and remains like sterile earth."
Then I was thanking Jesus for his beautiful lesson, and I felt all content that my human nature could not harm me. On the contrary, it could help me in letting the life of the divine will grow in my soul, and I continued my rounds and flights in its acts. And my sweet Jesus added,
"My daughter, my divine will possesses the inseparability from all its acts and effects, whether it operates alone within itself and outside of itself, or it operates in the creature, or the creature operates in it, or executes what my divine will wants. In this way of operating, it places something of its own, and it holds it as its own acts and its own properties, inseparable from it. Now, if the creature lives in my divine will, these acts become common property of one and the other. If then she makes some exits, she loses her rights. First, since those acts were done in our house, and then, because the substance, the life of the act, the sanctity, the beauty, the prerogatives that are needed in order to form an act of ours were placed by our divine will, the creature has done nothing other than attend and concur with her will of operating together with our own. But as for substance, she has placed nothing of her own. Therefore, if she persists in living in our will, she masters together with it. If she goes out, by justice, nothing is due to her. But if she re-enters into it, she acquires again the right of mastership. However, there is a great difference between one who lives in my divine will and operates together with it, and one who, not living in it, follows and does what my fiat wants in the circumstances. This one takes in her act my will as limited, and as she finishes the act, it remains like that. It does not go any further. And even though these acts too are inseparable from it, yet these acts appear as not having the continuous operating. They took my divine will in a limited way, and limited it remained. On the other hand, for one who lives in it and operates, her act acquires the incessant act of operating continuously. These acts will always be acting in my fiat. They will never lose the attitude. What the operating of my will is, which never ceases, so become the acts of the creature. Therefore, always in my fiat do I want you, if you want to take it, not limited and as though in drops, but as seas, in such a way as to remain so filled that you will touch and see nothing but my divine will.
Fiat.